watching it. I'm filming this. I'm not going to be editing it. I really need to talk about this topic. I felt like it was something very important, especially it being in the Fortnite community and the content creator community, YouTube or Twitch or whatnot. And also, I'm African American, so I feel like I needed to basically express my feeling on this and let people know what the dilly is. So basically, I ended up watching the Fortnite guy video about this content creator, Primroze, who basically was supposed to announce or host the FNC competitive Fortnite competition that's coming up soon. So as you see here, I'm showing you her Twitter. She basically on April 30th, she announced that I would be casting part of the Fortnite official broadcast for the solo FNCS in May. I'm so beyond excited for the opportunity, and I love each and every single one of you for helping me get to this point. So that's basically what she's stating right there. If she puts, LOL, I have 70k followers now. So I was like, wow, she has 70k followers. That's freaking dope. Let me go look her up on freaking Twitch. So I go to her freaking Twitch, and she only has 20,290. So I was like, yeah, that kind of seems weird. And this is after I saw the video. Like, she's definitely flexing, but she's completely lying. She's like 50,000 followers off. So I don't know why she's lying about that on freaking her Twitter. So then,
Epic. We don't want this person representing our competitive tournaments, and then it is a clip of her saying something on stream which people are calling racist. Roll the clip.
Show. You support the Confederate flag as well. I support views of the Confederacy, but I do not in any way support the racism and the slavery that it shows. So those are that.
So you heard what she said. You literally
what I do not support. I don't support that.
So this is definitely a sensitive topic, and I know some of you guys may not know what the Confederacy is or what the Confederate flag stands for because you're not from America. If you're looking for more information on it, I would suggest that you just use Google and do some research. And then there's another clip which people are even more upset about. Let's roll it.
Did you know, actually, that there was a point where blacks did actually...
Alright, I'm gonna let you know, if somebody ever starts off something with actually, they actually don't know what the heck they're talking about. Actually.
Own slaves, and we're the ones that were starting the slave trade because they went into certain parts of Africa and got those slaves and sold them off. And so they were the ones who started the slave trade. You know that? Did you guys know that?
Did you guys know that?
So because of these clips, there's a lot of people out there calling.
Alright, so now I'm done with it. You heard exactly what she said. She basically said that Africans went into Africa and basically stole each other and started the slave trade, which is 100% not true. So actually, what happened is, this is actually what happened in Africa. Indentured servants typically worked for 7 years in exchange for passage, room, board, lodging, and freedom dues. While the life of an indentured servant was harsh and restrictive, it was not slavery. There were laws that protected some of their rights. So it was completely different than what she's talking about. People in Ireland were not actually slaves. They were indentured servants. They were basically in war. They lost the war and they became indentured servants. They had to do free labor for a certain period of time and they would let go. They were given reparations. The slavery in America was done in a very harsh way to where millions of slaves, I'm going to type in how many slaves died. And the slave trade was called the transatlantic slave trade. So I'm going to read this. The transatlantic slave trade was the largest movement of people in history. Between 10 to 15 million Africans were forcibly transported across the Atlantic between 1500 and 1900. But this figure grossly understates the actual number of Africans enslaved and killed or displaced as a result of the slave trade. At least 2 million Africans, 10 to 15%, died during the infamous Middle Passage across the Atlantic. Another 15 to 30% died during the march of the confinement along the coast. Although, altogether, for every 100 slaves who reached the New World, another 40 had died in Africa and during the Middle Passage. Slave trade. I'm going to just talk about the definition of slavery compared to indentured servants. Throughout the 17th and 18th centuries, people were kidnapped from their continent of Africa, forced into slavery in the American colonies, and exploited to work as indentured servants and labor in the production of crops such as tobacco and cotton. Slavery, and this is the actual definition, slavery is any system in which principles of property law are applied to people, allowing individuals to own, buy, and sell individuals as a de jure form of property. We were basically property, weren't even considered humans. A slave is unable to withdraw unilaterally from such an agreement and works without remuneration. Read two different things of that is very misconstrued in America, and this is another thing. The Irish were slaves too. A lot of people will say that. Is it true? If we're talking about slavery as it was practiced on Africans in the United States, that is hereditary chattel slavery, the answer is clear no. As historic and public librarian Lehman Hogan writes in a paper titled The Myths of Irish Slaves and Colonies, persons from Ireland have been held in various forms of human bondage throughout history, but they had never been chattel slaves in the West Indies, nor is there any evidence of Irish chattel slavery in North American colonies. There were a large number of Irish indentured servants, and there were cases in which Irishmen and women were sentenced to indentured servitude in the New World and forcibly shipped across the Atlantic, but even involuntary laborers have more autonomy than enslaved Africans, and the large majority of Irish indentured servants came here voluntarily. Now I'm going to go into the data. Black people enslaved each other in Africa, and black people worked with slave traders. So, and that's exactly what they're saying in a piece published in Vice magazine in 2005 and still available on Vice website. Comedian Jim Goad offers a series of feel better about your history white kids arguments. One of his salvos, slaveries, was common throughout Africa, with entire tribes becoming enslaved after losing battles. Tribal chieftains often sold their defeated foes to white slave traders. I read, and hopefully you understand the difference between slavery that African people were putting other Africans in and why that happened compared to the mid-Atlantic slave trade. It was completely two different things, two different entities. And it's the same thing. White people were putting white people into slavery, but it was in a more moral. I don't want to say moral because it definitely wasn't moral to put anybody in slave, but it was in a better way. Most people knew what they were getting into. You fought a war. You knew that if you lost that war, you would be a slave to those people. It wasn't in the manipulative way that Europeans came and promised Africans a better life and that they were going to give them these things, and the next thing you know, they put them on ships, they started killing them, they started killing their babies and doing all these things to make people scared and to have to stay in slavery. And that was the manipulation of what Europeans did in the Americas to slaves. They basically hung them from trees to make them scared. They separated men from their wives and people from their children. They fed their babies to alligators. They did all these harsh things to keep people as slaves, and they never gave them anything. There's so many people that died on the way over here on the boats. Nobody was really taken that far from their land. Nobody was sold like actual furniture or cattle, or you know what I mean, they were traded like freaking Pokemon cards. It was completely senseless, and something that I feel that if you don't know 100% or you're not from that culture, you should not talk about it at all unless you 110% spit facts and you're not influencing people to think the wrong thing. Because your statement, Primrose, was completely a false statement. You had no acknowledgement of what's going on. You're just spitting out what you might have heard from your dad or your mom or somebody around you. Some influence that wasn't, I wouldn't even say it was 10% factual. I do understand that that information is out there, but it definitely was not true. So, I feel that your apology was not sincere, and I feel that you probably still feel that way. You only try to act like you don't feel that way because you were called out on it. Point blank. You were called out on it. You can't do what you wanted to do, so now you feel some type of way about it, and you feel that you need to do damage control, and you need to like make people think that you don't think that way. When we already know you're wearing a freaking magma hat. Like, either way, you're supporting a dude. Like, and I like. I'm not really into politics anyway, but you're still supporting the president who kind of caused this huge pandemic. You know what I mean? Like the stuff he just told people to drink freaking basically bleach and things that you have around your house to disinfect things. Like, it's on a whole nother level. So I can see kind of why your comment came from that. But it's whatever. I just hope you learn and you grow and you get better in life. That's what I wish for you. It's no hate towards you, but your comment was very hateful and it was 110% racist. And if you are racist, I definitely don't feel that you should have the influence and have the position that you have to be able to influence more young kids to become racist or show racism or to think ignorant or in a bad way or to give out false information. That's all I gotta say. Really upset me. Really made me sick to my stomach. But whatever, yo. I'm gonna get some dubs in Fortnite. I'm gonna live life. I'm not gonna be racist. I'm gonna be positive, and I think each and every one of y'all should do that. The whole Tunnel Vision fam is definitely positive. So if you've seen this video and you're not part of the Tunnel Vision fam, please hit that freaking subscribe and notification button. And if you're not a racist, hit the like button. If you're a racist, hit the dislike button. Do something. Let me know who you are. Also, put what you think about this whole situation in the comments. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know if you have any other questions. I know a lot about this stuff. I know about mass incarceration. I know about why slavery started, and so on and so forth. If you want to see me make a video about that, put that in the comments, and I'll try to do my best to make that video. But peace, love, happiness. Stop the racism. Start with love. I got one thing to say. Stop thinking yourself as racist. If we think of ourselves as racist, we will always be in a race to be better than the other race. We need to start thinking of ourselves as humankind, and then we'll have kindness and we'll have peace and harmony in the world. So that's, just let that sink in. Think about that. You know what I mean? And yeah, I love each and every one of y'all. Peace.